What was left behind when the field stopped speaking but the people didn't. 20 years since the curves first bent the wheat, and still, every spring, the valley hums like it's remembering someone's handwriting. Jonah's gone gray around the temples. Sera's hair keeps its impossible shine, and the windmill turns slower now, but never stops. Kids grow up chasing ribbons through the ditches she designed, and every one of them knows this place was taught how to listen. What no one knows, not even Sera, is that the earth still listens back, and tonight, it plans to answer one last time. This isn't about survival anymore. It's about legacy, the kind that doesn't fit in books or broadcasts. When the next generation starts hearing whispers in the rain again, Jonah and Sera must decide whether to tell them the truth or let the land keep its secret. Because if the cycle restarts, the world might finally be ready to hear the message fully, or forget it all over again. Every story ends twice, once when it's told and once when it's understood. The farm no longer belongs to one man or one miracle. It belongs to a rhythm. The valley is now a patchwork of swales, gardens, and community fields that stretch as far as the eye can want. Solar windmills hum beside hand-cranked pumps. Every porch has a ledger with Sera's neat handwriting copied inside. Jonah walks with a slower gait, cane tapping in time with the old dog's ghost. Sera, unchanged by years, teaches at the workshop school, a one-room building with walls lined by seed jars and old maps. Remember, she tells her students, soil doesn't forget kindness. A small girl named Evie raises her hand. Miss Sera, did you make the field talk? Sera smiles. No, I just reminded it how. Outside, the air smells of rain that hasn't arrived yet. Jonah watches from the porch, coffee in hand, and thinks how peace feels like work done honestly. Each year, the town marks the day the patterns first appeared. They don't call it Miracle Day anymore, just the day of listening. There's music, food, and quiet between songs. Oren, older but not visibly aged, arrives without ceremony, their twilight coat now patched with human thread. They shake Jonah's hand. Still recording? Jonah asks. Always, Oren says. Your valley keeps outpacing my notes. Sera laughs softly. That's the point of teaching instead of guarding. The mayor reads a passage from the charter Oren once left, now displayed under glass in the community hall. We will not own the rain, nor the patience that summons it. When the crowd applauds, Sera's gaze drifts toward the ridge. Something glints there, faint and rhythmic like a signal practicing politeness. That night, thunder travels without lightning. Jonah feels it through the porch boards, the same way he once felt the first hum beneath his boots. It's been quiet too long, he mutters. Sera joins him, eyes on the clouds. It's not danger, she says. It's memory. Rain begins. Not a storm, just a conversation. The water hits the ground in perfect intervals, soaking evenly, flowing through the trenches they taught it to trust. But with every drop, the soil releases a tone, low and steady, like breath under a hymn. Jonah recognizes the key. That's ours, he says. No, Sera corrects softly. That's theirs. The land's voice continued. In town, people lean out windows, confused and awed. It's not thunder anymore. It's language, deep and slow, a resonance of gratitude. Jonah's workshop smells of cedar and ink. On the table lies a journal, leather cover worn at corners. Each page carries two hands, Jonah's messy scrawl and Sera's graceful script beside it. He adds a line under today's date, the rain remembered. Sera reads over his shoulder, then adds her own note in her smaller script. Memory becomes tradition when shared. He glances up. You think they'll believe it if we tell them? They already live by it, she says. Belief is just formality, he chuckles. You make philosophy sound like a harvest. Sera looks out the window at fields now shimmering faintly under moonlight. It is, she says. Every season is a question. The earth keeps answering. The next morning, Evie and her friends run barefoot through the wet fields, laughing, tracing shapes only they can see. One stops suddenly and points. Look! Pressed into the wheat are new lines, sharper, smaller, like handwriting learned from handwriting. Jonah and Sera arrive moments later, breathless for different reasons. The pattern forms a simple symbol, 3 concentric arcs around a single dot. Sera kneels. "Not warning," she murmurs. "A handoff." Evie tilts her head. "Like, it's our turn?" Sera smiles. "Exactly like that." Jonah feels the wind shift and realizes the message was never just for them. It was a relay, meant to be passed on when the land decided the next generation was ready to listen. Oren returns to the porch that evening, hat in hand, posture both proud and sad. "My archive's full," they say. "Every field, every pattern, every refusal you taught, copied across continents. You've started something ungovernable." Jonah raises his coffee in salute. "That's the only kind worth starting," Sera asks. "Will you stay this time?" Oren shakes their head. "Archivists leave so memory doesn't turn to worship." Before they go, they hand Sera a small, sealed disc. "When you forget the sound," Oren says, "play this." She frowns. "What sound?" Oren smiles. "The one you'll think you invented." Then they vanish the same quiet way they arrived. No ship, no flare, just absence rearranging itself politely. The weather changes without warning. Black clouds roll like punctuation across the ridge. The valley braces, tools down, windows latched. Jonah and Sera stand together on the porch watching lightning paint the horizon. "Here it is," Jonah says. "Not punishment," Sera replies. "Proof." Rain slams down in thick sheets, the kind that used to drown this place. But the swales hold. The trenches divert. The soil drinks and sings. Water moves exactly where the glyphs once pointed decades ago. The town hall lights flicker but never die. Every field survives. When morning comes, puddles rest obediently in basins built by patience, not machines. The valley has graduated. Weeks later, the town builds something simple on the ridge. A stone ring where the first curves once appeared. Inside, an engraving reads, "Listen well, speak kindly, leave room for the answer. Children tie ribbons there every spring. Tourists visit but leave quiet. No drones allowed. No tickets sold. Just a bench, a view, and the faint sound of wind through wheat." Jonah and Sera visit at sunset. He leans on his cane, eyes shining. "Think they'll keep it this way?" Sera looks out over the fields, green, whole, alive. "If they don't," she says, "the earth will remind them." He laughs softly. "That's the closest thing to faith I'll ever need." One evening, as stars wake over the horizon, Sera sits on the porch steps, staring at her hands. They still look young, alien, strong. "You ever wish you'd gone back?" Jonah asks from the doorway. She shakes her head. "Home isn't a place, Jonah. It's a pace." He joins her, easing into the chair that used to creak louder. "You changed this place forever." Sera smiles faintly. "No. We just listen long enough for it to remember itself." A pause stretches warm between them. Then she says, almost to herself, "When I'm gone, you'll still hear me. The ground will hum my name." Jonah squeezes her hand. "Then I'll keep walking barefoot." Years later, the journal passes hands. Evie, now grown, reads it aloud to her students. The old farmhouse stands, windmill slower but proud. Ribbons of every color line the fence. The soil still hums on certain days, low and kind. At the very back of the book, a final page no one wrote appears faintly in pressed wheat dust. Evie touches the page, and the hum rises just enough to be felt, not heard. She looks out at the valley, a patchwork of human patience and alien kindness, and smiles. The wind answers in the same key it learned all those years ago. Not thunder, not language. Just the sound of a planet, finally, at peace with the people who decided to listen.